from the love of liberty in the fires of hope and prayer. With boundless faith in our destiny, we solemnly declare. Side by side we stand, islands of the blue Caribbean Sea, this our native land. We pledge our lives to thee. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation.
Heavenly Father, we come before you at the start of this new day, giving thanks for life, for health, and the opportunity to serve through this station. We ask for your divine presence to guide us in all we do. Bless this broadcast, that it may be a source of inspiration, joy, and unity to all who tune in. Whether near or far, may our words uplift, our music heal, and our message bring light to those who need it most. We pray for our listeners, wherever they may be. Grant them strength for the day ahead. Peace in their hearts, success in all they put their hands to. Cover those protection, and those at home, and those at comfort and provision. Lord, may everything we do bring honor to you, and be a blessing to others. Guide our steps. Bless our effort. This station be a vessel, of positivity and hope. In your name, we pray. Amen.
Your voice, your soundtrack, your station. New era, TT, NETT, Radio.
I'm a slave from a land so far. I was caught and I was brought here from Africa. I'm a slave from a land so far. I was caught and I was brought here from Africa. Well, it was licks like fire from the white slave master every day. Sat down on my knees, weeks and weeks before we crossed the seas to reach in the West Indies. Then they make me work. Yes, I said I work. Yes, I work. Good Lord, no pay. I toil. I say I toil so hard each day. I'm dying. I'm crying. The English slave master standing there with the gun. Oh, I know he gonna shoot me. I stay and I pray, but the planning still. I study night and day how to break away. I got to make a brilliant escape. But every time I think about the whip and them dogs, my body just start to shake. He made me work. I said I work. Oh, oh, Lord, no pay. I toil hard each day. I'm dying. I'm crying, Lord.
Wake up, rise up. It's the NETT Radio Breakfast Show, bringing you the energy, music, and vibes to start your day right.
In my heart, there was much to say.
All right, everybody, good morning to you, and of course, welcome to it. Good to have you here. Of course, if you're wondering where here is, it's the NETT Radio, the heartbeat of the Caribbean. Yeah, we're taking you above and beyond.
It was this thing and the whip there.
As we welcome everybody wherever you may be, Trinidad and Tobago, the neighbors in the Caribbean, friends who are streaming all around the globe. Good day to you, and of course, thank you very much for tuning in and being here with us this good-looking Monday morning. Hope that you guys had a really good weekend, and I'm hoping all is well with you. As always, I want to say much thanks to the Heavenly Father for bringing us together for another day. And all that we do, dear God, let it be a blessing unto you. Sir Charles, that is me.
I'm crying.
And I want to take the opportunity to welcome everybody. This is the Get Up and Go. We welcome you to the Breakfast Show.
Wake up, it's a brand new dawn. The breakfast show got the vibes turned on. From Maracas Bay to the Savannah line, let's start the day in Caribbean prime. Good vibes rolling through the air. The breakfast show, energy everywhere. We talk, we laugh, we make you think. Grab your doubles or your morning drink.
Hi, good morning. I'm getting an echo.
You getting it?
I'm getting an echo. All right, I think it's gone. Good morning, St. Charles. Good morning, Richard Ragubasing. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. And good morning, listeners and viewers all over the globe. It's a beautiful Monday morning. You know why? Because we are alive and most of us are healthy. Okay, so it's good to be in the land of the living. Condolences to those who would have lost loved ones. Our apologies if you haven't seen Mr. Ragubasing as yet. It's because he has a play. Well, he's auditioning. What's that? No, practicing for a play. Rehearsing for a play. Yeah, that's what he's doing.
In progress right now.
Yeah, and he's not as young as he used to be, people. So please excuse him. You know what I mean? We all not as young as we used to be. Trust me, I went to my bed real early yesterday. I went to bed early after an absolutely fantastic day with some friends of mine who well, this is the first time most of them came by me actually, you know. So it was a nice afternoon and evening actually. Well, they come from morning. They were here from since morning, you know. But it was good to meet up with some old school friends yesterday, and we had a great time. All right, so let me well, because I'm here alone, with Sir Charles doing this, it might be done a little differently, but we have a guest in the second hour. Our guest will be Mr. Rondell Fields from the Single Parent Association. I think that's what they're calling it now, the Single Parent.
Oh, they're not fathers anymore.
No, I think he switched to single parent because I guess he getting women also to having issues coming to him. But he ostensibly was Single Fathers Association. Now he is Single Parents Association. Rhonda will correct us if I'm wrong when we interview him in the next hour. You know, but we have a good show lined up for you again today. Right. And today we would have been having someone who, Sir Charles, I don't know, the other person we thought about having today. It's actually his birthday today. Gavin Hewer. Today is Gavin Hewer's birthday.
Yeah.
So, happy birthday,
That's probably why we couldn't get him.
That's probably why we couldn't get him. You know? Happy birthday also to Kayam Ali, Ingrid Morrison, Lieutenant Kirk Jean-Baptiste. He was formerly of the Coast Guard. Viola Ames Archer, Rishma Sicharan, Nikki Sky. Is that the girl who won? Miss World? Is that her name? I think so. Not Miss World, but Miss Trinidad and Tobago. Kandra Bal Ryan Singh, happy birthday. Mavis Queen, Althea Reed Blackman, Glenwyn CY, Jeremiah David, young Jeremiah. I don't know what part of the world he lives in now. Happy birthday, Jeremiah. Donna Faye Hector, and of course, not yesterday, what it is? 28th or 29th?
28.
28. Yesterday, of course, was the anniversary of the attempted coup. Yesterday was also Dale Enoch's birthday. Happy birthday, happy belated birthday greetings, Dale Enoch. And so yesterday was the 35th anniversary of the attempted coup of 1990. For those of you who are wrong, it was an extremely traumatic time for Trinidad and Tobago. During that time, where a prime minister was shot and held hostage, and so many other people lost their lives, and more worse than that, many people lost their businesses. You understand, their livelihoods. Outside of their lives, they lost livelihoods. You know, so it was a very, very traumatic time. Of course, the country has never been the same since. That's my opinion. And here we are today, 35 years later. One person has kept it up, so congratulations to him. That is Wendell Eversley. He has kept up that fight for that 35 years, doing a march and highlighting the need to have, I don't know what Wendell actually wants. Maybe one day we will speak to him.
Yeah, because they had commissions, inquiry and everything, right?
Yep, they have had all that. The main protagonist in that commission of inquiry didn't come before the commission. Because there was no way to compel people to come before a commission, and he decided he's not doing it. He has since passed on, you know. So 35 years later, here we are with more guns than we could ever think about, more crime than we could ever think about.
And that is why it would have been nice to already talk with Gavin today.
Yeah,
to find out, if after all of that, if we have learned anything, and if we are in a better position to deal with something like that now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because
I'm sure individually people could say they've learned. Mm-hmm. Maybe individually people could say they've learned and they've changed their way of living or whatever. You know what I mean? But I don't know if the country has learned anything. I don't know. Maybe we have. You know, we certainly know how to protect ourselves better, because every now and then you get this impression that something is about to happen. You know, I mean, we've had 3 states of emergency since then, and we don't know the real reason behind them. You know, but maybe things have improved. You know, I don't know. I sometimes just sign myself out of Trinidad and Tobago. I sign myself out and off of Trinidad and Tobago. You know what I mean?
And that's a real thing that you talk there, I mean, because the population, we are never really truly aware with all the things. We don't ever get the real details. Even after the thing has passed and gone, they don't ever come to the population and say, well, look, this is what was going on. This is what we stopped, this is what we prevented. Nobody knows. Everything stays under that cloak of secrecy.
Well, except that an attorney general came before the country the other day and said they averted a disaster that would have decimated half of where the building he was in and because of a rocket launcher. He said that to the country, and nobody has ever asked anything since then. Where is this rocket launcher? Who was going to decimate the place with a rocket launcher? Nobody has said anything, and that statement by an attorney general has just gone silent. The media has not asked any more questions since then. Nothing.
Maybe because everybody must have felt that he was just making joke.
Joke, that is joke.
You know, just being facetious on the platform.
I remember when a former prime minister, deceased as he is, also made a statement about they know who Mr. Big is. You remember that? I don't know if people remember that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But the Prime Minister, Patrick Manning at the time, had said when in the midst of bombings, there were several bombings in the city, in dustbins. They call it the dustbin bomber, right? Or the garbage can bomber, whatever term they used to describe the person back then. And he had said, we know who Mr. Big is. And after that, whatever the National Security Network did, the bombing stopped. The garbage bombing stopped. We don't know if the garbage bomber was arrested. We don't know if the garbage bomber was killed. We don't know who the garbage bomber is. We don't know nothing. It just ended, just like that. Wow. You know, and here we have again an attorney general coming to say that somebody was about to launch a rocket launcher into a building that would have killed half of mash up half the building, destroyed half of the building, and naturally killed people. And nothing else has happened since. The Minister of Homeland Security said that the threat for the SOE has been averted. Nothing again since. But we have the SOE going to be extended for 3 months from today. People, I don't know if you know that. There's an order paper that is going to be debated in a special extraordinary meeting of the Parliament going to be held today to extend the SOE for a further 3 months. But last week, the Minister of Homeland Security was saying the threat has been averted.
But have they actually, I mean, like, I don't know how the runs of the Parliament is, but have you gotten any indication that, yes, the government wants to extend that, or, you know, see that
is that a feeling again, Sir Charles? The order paper has been drawn up?
The order paper has been drawn up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know, you know, that running. So once the order paper has gone forward, it means that yes, we have
they're going to debate it. I don't know how the opposition. I don't know what the opposition. How the debate is actually going to be held. I don't know, because the government doesn't need the opposition to vote in support of it.
Yeah. But they still have to even though they don't get their support, but at least they still have to listen to them.
But yeah, it's a debate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
process.
I don't know how that is going to work out. Yeah, I don't know.
Let's really say hello to our morning people.
Yes, we could do hello in the chat right now. And lots of chatter going on this morning. Well, do we know we do good news after or before? I lost track. Yes, you see when you all do so much in the morning and I do very little.
Yeah. I know. Actually, I think it's good news. All right, so let's do our good news.
Let's do good news. All right.
Today, listen to this.
She said, I'm going to cook you a gumbo you've never eaten. You're the best gumbo you'll ever eat in your life. We sat down there, and I met her husband, and he wasn't saved. And he was just kind of checking me out, because I was a preacher, wondering what I want, probably an offering, how that kind of junk is. And that's not true. But the two kids really like me. But I'm so glad to come to this house. I said, thank you, and everything. Puts it on the table. She brings it to me. Now I look at it, and I could tell by looking at it that it was El Trasho. You understand? I could tell. So I'm going to eat this stuff, because the Bible said eat what's set before you. And if she asks me, I'm going to lie like a dog. That's what I'm going to do. And I said, I'm going to tell a little white lie. And the Lord spoke to me. He said, no lies are white. He said, you be honest. I said, that's easy for you to say. I'm the one here. I got to eat this trash. You understand? You up in heaven saying, suffer. I don't want to eat this stuff. Now, I take this spoon, and I notice her husband looking at me. And he ain't tasting it neither. He's just looking at me. He's just holding it like that. And he's staring at me. Now, and the two kids, they ain't eating nothing. they're just looking at me. And I'm not exaggerating a bit. They're just looking at me. I'm thinking, my God, man, take it. Son, I mean, my God, worse. Trash. I mean, bad. Bad. Major bad. Kill plants with it. You know, just bad stuff. And she said, well, how do you like it, Brother Jesse? And my mind, lie, 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 lie. And the Lord said, don't you lie, you tell her the truth. Boy, I'm praying rapture. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. Rapture, now. I don't want to say nothing. I mean, I'm not a rude man, you know? I'm not rude. I don't want to be rude. To me, if I tell it, be rude. And I'm just sitting there and I'm going. Now, her husband is just looking at me with that spoon. He ain't that touched, neither the kids. They're just looking at me. She said, well, how do you like it, Mr. Jesse? I said, well, ma'am. God, I gotta be honest. I said, this is trash. I had to tell the truth. And the husband went, bam, and throwed that spoon down. He said, I know you're a man of God now. I know you are. I know you're a man of God. That guy got saved 2 weeks later because of that old dumb gumbo. Trash. I look over there, I could see the dog in the corner going, thank you, Jacob. I ain't got to eat this junk neither.
Do you need to be encouraged? Call.
It's not a brilliant testimony. I got that from a friend, a listener. He's a fan of the show too, Norris Ferguson. And I found it to be absolutely brilliant.
Yes. I mean, I don't know if anybody has found themselves in that kind of situation where you go across somebody's place and you're just getting something to eat and it's not tasting good and you're there. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Have you ever had that experience?
I get in trouble for my honesty a lot, you know that, right? No, honestly, but the story behind this story is that the woman's husband was not saved. And he was looking to see what the preacher would do. And the preacher, of course, torn between telling the woman the truth or at least saving face. He decided, you know something? I'm telling her the truth. And he said, ma'am, this is trash. And that inspired the husband to give his life to God after. Because he said, now we know for sure that this man is a man of God. He couldn't lie. I loved it.
Yeah. That's a serious thing. And I'm sure most people would have experienced something like that already, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Something, you eating something that's just not tasting good and you've tried to finish it but you just can't. You just can't.
Yeah. And that is for all you church people, well, Christian people, anybody, any religious person.
That's for anybody else.
Who struggle with telling the truth and struggling with making people's lives miserable.
Let the truth set you free, yes?
Yeah.
Let the truth set you free.
Let's end the good news segment there, Sir Charles, and greet people in the chat.
Right,
so that was I get back my camera working, right? You see how bright I'm looking this morning?
Yeah, you looking pretty better this morning. Yeah, and a bright spot this morning.
I get back my external camera up and running. Thanks to my IT partner. He come and sort out really issues some over the weekend. Morning, Roland. So let's greet people in the chat. Felix Kazo. Felix got in at 12:01. Congratulations, Felix. This is your first time coming in first. Well done. Valerie Mendoza, Miss Davidi. Folks, Richard is normally click while I read, but for me to click and read is kind of tough because the message goes off what I'm reading. Margaret Thomas says, good morning, guys. Ron DeSantis Jr. Up late and work late and will be asleep when you're on. Suzanne Jessup says, good morning. Let me say good morning, a special good morning to Suzanne and Suzette Jessup. Who came Friday. Remember, we told you all you all could come and you could buy Rumbox online. Suzanne organized it, actually. And Suzanne and Suzette were the only two who showed up on Friday. The weather was a little bad, but But there was Ham and Hobbs. Ham and Hobbs, courtesy somebody in the chat too named Steph. He prepared all the ham and hops, and of course we had drinks on sale. And Suzanne and Suzette came and they hung out for a while, you know. Lincoln said he was coming, never showed up, you know. But I know that the weather was a little iffy on Friday, so that may have stopped it. Scorpion Pepper say he or she, I don't know if it's a he or she coming. I ain't see them yet. You know, and all kind of people ask me for directions, including Sankofa, who knows where it is. Never showed up. But we had a good time still hanging out there on Friday. So morning, Suzanne and Suzette, and thank you so much for showing up on Friday. God pass, right? Brennan Smith from Goodwood in Tobago. Ava Smith, I don't know if it's any relation to Brennan, but says blessed morning to Richard Wendell and Sir Charles. Marcia Rock from Orlando, Florida says good morning. Melissa from Charfleur. Lennox Francois also says good morning. Annie Bunyan, morning guys. Have a great day.
Morning,
Annie. Marlon Motley from North Valsayn. Sherwin and Juliet Kerr were there last Friday but couldn't make it down this Friday. They must have had something in Arima. Anne-Marie Watson from Maloney. Good morning to the breakfast show. Hill Bench also says good morning. Cheryl Johnson says wonderful blessed morning guys, enjoy the rest of the day. From Malabar Arima. James Kamau, grand rising to the three. Robert Taylor from Fernandina Beach. Good Rena Buru Jennings from Pity Valley. Wendy Ann James from herself and Frank. Oh, she's joined it. Frank has joined in this morning with Wendy Ann. Thank you very much, Frank, for joining in. And she says good morning, Wendell, Richard Wendell and Sir Charles. Diane Payne, good morning, NETT. Susan Jessup came back in. Nat Ilarizan says good morning, guys. Wayne Ramsey from Fort Lauderdale. Wayne Ramsey, your colleagues had a rousing time yesterday. I don't know if you've seen the pictures as yet from Narina or from Narina took pictures, and who's the other person who took pictures? Sharon? Who's the other person? Claudia took pictures too, right? So I'm sure you'll see them in. Erica Charles says good morning and thank God for life. Katian Charles from Cascade also says good morning. Alistair Hart from San Fernando. Nicola McNichols. Michael Mapp says good morning, gentlemen. Gavin Frank from Powder Magazine. Lambert Bruce from El Dorado, but he's in Philadelphia. Okay, what is happening over there in Philadelphia? Is it Carnival? Cheryl Charles. I wonder if that's the Cheryl Charles I know. Morning, Cheryl Charles, if that's you. I can't see the picture. Melchizedek says good morning. Nicola McNichols. What a classic from Sir Charles. What did you play, Sir Charles?
Sparrow Slave.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Let's get ready for Emancipation. So it's Emancipation Week, guys. So I have some Emancipation music for you guys.
You know what you need to play in the 7 o'clock hour? I absolutely love that lady. As a matter of fact, my paws raised whenever I hear her perform. You know, the name was in Ella Andel. Ella Andel. Play some Ella Andel in the next hour.
Or any Ella?
Eh? No, she has a particular Ella Andel. You'll know it when you
bring down the power?
Bring down the power. That's it.
All right.
They bring down some power this morning. Oliver Manwaring, Sherma Paul also says good morning. Josie Richardson. Anne Noel says good morning from Oshawa in Ontario. CJ from New York, morning CJ. Trinidad Margot. CJ also sent me a message over the weekend about young Theon, how he was so very thankful for that interview on Friday. It was spontaneous, people, but it really was a great interview with Theon Morales. That's his name. Trinidad Margot, good morning. Carlisle Cupid, Ozzy Molino. Suzanne Jessup is saying happy birthday greetings. Oh, to Mrs. Gemma. That's the third person on the chat. So happy birthday, Mrs. Gemma, from all of us here on the Power Breakfast Show, and more particularly from Suzanne and Suzette. All right. They were immediately recognized as a twin when they came on Lime on Friday. Curtis Hector, top of the morning, guys. Have a productive day. Carlisle Cupid says, okay, we're not going to read that, Carlisle Cupid. Odell Guy, good morning, all from Sangre Grande. DL also says good morning. Crew 1990 was the catalyst for how we have slid downwards, I think. I don't disagree with that. And it's not only about Baka, because strange enough, Gavin Nicholas put up a post yesterday that pointed to the events of 1990. And I said, Gavin, a lot of people are also of the belief that the decisions of the politicians before that led to 1990 may have caused it. There are some people of that thinking, right? Have we really learned anything? So asked Richard Phillip. Helen Prescott says, good morning all. Carol Guevara also says, good morning. Lyndon Williams, Richard Phillip. Cat Consulting Services, that's Chris Tousse. He said, good morning, guys. Richard is missing. I'm trying to bring myself back to Trinidad. There's no place like home. America is not the paradise that it seems to be. You're absolutely right, Chris. Trini Gets Fit says, good morning, guys. Oh, I didn't know that, Carlisle Cupid. You may be revealing something that nobody else knows. I didn't know that someone was actually arrested and was being extradited at the time. Okay, I didn't know that. Richard Phillip, question, where was the current prime minister for this? For which one? The coup of 1990? Was she in parliament? I'm not sure. Marcel Johnson, good morning, guys. Have a blessed day. Michael Grant Sankofa says, bountiful graces and blessings. Mike Sankofa, get your name changed at the top, because I keep seeing Michael Grandison, and that's what we read, the top name, right? Question, well, Richard Phillips is also asking the same question again. Where's Richard? Richard is a bit tired from rehearsing for his play. Yeah, Miguel Gonzalez says, good morning.
Been going all week.
Yeah, Sankofa said, when they'll take a picture of your Sankofa trophy. I actually gave it to you, you know. The only Sankofa that I brought back from Ghana, I actually brought it back for you. I didn't keep one for myself. What you're seeing behind me there is the Ginyami. That's what you see. Kurt Hope says, good morning from Nashville, Tennessee. Boy Bidesi, who celebrated his birthday recently, from DB. Brennan Smith says, my sister Ava lives in San Juan. So it is his sister. All right, well, there we go. Joyce Phillip, top of the morning to you guys. Christopher Batson, good morning. Pearl Cordis, I met your daughter again yesterday, Pearl. Morning to Pearl and Katian. It's Katian, I think. Magic says, Grand Rising. Ava Smith Spivey, good morning to. So that must be Bernard's next sister now. Diane Payne also says, Sir Charles, I love Caribbean Woman by Ella. Yes. And Brendan, I am Smith by marriage. Okay. Michael Sankofa also says, oh, I thought that is a Sankofa. No, the Sankofa is the bird. That's the Ginyami you're seeing there. All right. So those are all our greetings on the chat. So Charles, you have any?
Yeah, I have a couple of them. Let me say good morning to Kent. Good morning to Archbishop Ashton Clark. Terry Ann Peters, good morning. Norris Ferguson, good morning. Carlin in Carenage. Suzanne, of course, is already here also. Mr. Billy and Frank out there in Frank Andrews out there in Aruka. Yeah.
All right. Those are your greetings.
That's all the persons that I have, all right, on the chat. So let's take a little break, and then we will be back, and we'll get into the newspapers when we come back.
All right.
Charmflair Auto Services Limited, your one-stop auto repair shop, located at number 1 Industrial Lane, Charmflair, right opposite the brewery on the Eastern Main Road. Yes, we do it all. Repairs to all makes and models, from your everyday sedan to SUVs, light trucks, pickups, and panel vans. We're also the sole distributors of Devantry tires, certified VTS inspection station, plus a wide range of services: oil change, front end and suspension repairs, tune-ups, tire alignment, batteries, electrical work, radiator and cooling system, AC repairs, and accessories galore. We offer pickup and drop-off service too. Call us today at 662-6545 or 662-6572. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Charmflair Auto Services Limited, number 1 Industrial Lane, Charmflair. We do it all.
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for
for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rum Box. Drinking out of the box. Looking for trusted, affordable security and property services? Horatio Services has you covered across Trinidad and Tobago. We offer battle security, canine patrols, 24/7 protection, and all sorts of private investigations, discreet, professional, and effective. But that's not all. We also provide construction. From building to renovation, we bring your vision to life. Landscaping, keep your outdoors looking sharp and inviting. Maintenance, repairs, upkeep, and everything in between. At Horatio Services, you get professionalism, reliability, and personal care. Whether it's safety or property support you need, visit us at Marino Street, Arima, or call 388-7070. Today, Horatio Services, protection, precision, peace of mind.
All right. So we are back.
We are back. I have to read this. I have to read this message. Miss Henry, you're not easy, you know. Anyway, good morning to Ambrose Blah and Robert Harper. And this is what Miss Henry had to say. She said, good morning, guys, and all on the chat. Wendell, the AG John Jeremy caused NLCB to pay out lots of money the next day and it picked 2 games. They played 36 and 36 with the mega ball. After that, for those of you who don't know what 36 is, it's the animal that goes hee-haw.
Donkey.
The donkey, better known as the jack. Okay?
Yeah.
ESS, right?
Mm-hmm.
Only Miss Henry could come up with something like that. Yes, I see.
Trust me, it's only she can, really and truly.
Anyway, today's Express online trending. Rajay Ali afraid to eat, fears for his life at Tetron, takes legal action. And that's a story that's trending, and that's a very interesting story, on Rajay Ali. Ram Logan, this is former Attorney General Anand Ram Logan, told people to give back the US visa if they're not in favor of the stand your ground legislation. I don't know if Anand Ram Logan is aware that in the US too, property tax, they pay property tax. Is he suggesting to that we follow that, or we don't follow that? Which one? Make up your mind, Anand Ram Logan. Gary Hunt, former NM minister, tipped to be the new Angus Stewart chairman. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
David West defends PCA's independence amid calls for dismissal. There's been an open call for David West to step down, and of course he is defending that. Sawa North student drowns during Shagarama's beach outing. How long I haven't heard about drowning down Shagarama's. And those are all stories trending in the Express. Also, I'm not seeing it, but the PNM announced 3 deputy political leaders over the weekend. Colin Imbert, Jennifer Baptiste Primus, and Sanjeev Buru. I can tell you already I don't agree with that. But I'm leaving that for when Richard here, because Richard will provoke me, and I will say more when Richard provokes me. So Charles, don't provoke me already, right? But Richard
no, I try not to provoke.
Richard will provoke me about those deputy political leaders, and I will have my say before the end of the week, right?
No problem. All right, so let me do the Guardian and see if we can pull up the news in the meantime, right?
Yeah.
I suggested Sunday for in the poll.
Yeah, I agree with it. I agree with
that.
We'll pull that, yes.
All right, so in the Guardian today, Kamala re-elected UNC leader unopposed, and that was expected. Mm-hmm. Beckles appoints deputies, but analysts warns PNM faces uphill battle. Surge, CCC is not being shut down. Culture Minister calls for accountability from Emancipation Committee. PCA Director dismisses calls for his removal. And Logie used prison intelligence as evidence, not excuse for SOE. right, and that's the Guardian there. You have the news there?
Yes, I do. The news
All
day,
right.
today's news day, today, July 28, 2025. AI students graduate in Cuba. Beckles chooses PNM deputy leaders. And I want to remind all of the names. Colm Imbert, Jennifer Baptiste Primus, and Sanjeev Voodoo. I'll remind you all about that later on in the week. Reggae Brunch celebrates Caribbean culture. El Dorado residents, man shot by police, a pest. So that means he must be shot. What the hell is this? Move to isolate. You know, if you shoot all the pests, you know what happens is? Move to isolate high-risk inmates at MSP backfires. Secrets of Building 13 revealed. And of course, that story trended over the weekend about the 65-inch TV. It's been there a while. And they have more than one TV. So I don't understand Minister what's his name? Sturge assertion that a 65-inch TV was found in a prison cell. Nothing like that exists, according to the newspapers. Rajay Ali asks court to cancel transfer to Tetron, and 4 failed robbers arrested returning rental car. Right, so those are the stories trending in today's Newsday. So that's all our newspapers for today. Right,
You know, last week there was a situation that I found was very hilarious. They hold some guys when they're with one of those, they were in one of those small, you know, those note vehicles, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's probably like one of the bigger minis.
Mm-hmm.
Cars, right?
Yes, I know the notes.
Those guys they said that they stole some gas tanks. They had like 28 gas tanks in that little vehicle.
What?
I don't know how they get all those gas tanks in. I must still be able to have 2 of them in the vehicle. Because that's a real small vehicle, you know.
But how risky is that? Gas tanks?
Well,
Like as in LPG gas tanks?
Yes.
Wait.
You know, so I said, but how they get all that inside of there? I don't know how they did that, but boy, that is something else. I said that whoever packed that can rail pack. He could probably pack suitcase to go away when you know, somehow you just can't get everything in your suitcase.
Yes.
Yeah. That person can rail pack. Rail pack.
Interesting. All right, so we can open the lines now. We have lots of time to take your calls this morning, and then we will get into a poll. We'll probably do a earlier poll too, because we speeding along this morning without Richard. He has apologized. He will join us, but he's a bit under the weather after rehearsing from his play. Okay, so please, we apologize for him, right? So let's open up the lines, okay?
Yes. So people, you can call us at 281-1315. That's 281-1315. And of course, you can get in on the show. Yeah, lots of things are happening.
Sure, that we even say, you know, how much they pay out for the play radio. Yes, so good. They go back to you good. All right, 281-1315. We're taking your calls now, all the way up for the next 10 minutes or so. We can take calls, and then we'll get into a poll. If you don't call, of course, we'll do an early poll, and so we can get as much in as possible. Our guest in the next hour will be Mr. Rondell Fields from the Single Parent Association. He will talk about a story that I don't know if you all saw it. Over the weekend, there was a story that broke about a young man who went missing. And he had this to say. Well, not he didn't say it. Apparently his sisters posted it. So we're going to talk about that with Rondell. And of course, all these challenges that Rondell would face from time to time with single parents. So
that'll be interesting. I look forward to that, to hear how he responds to that. Good morning, Miss Sampson.
Good morning, gentlemen. I hope Richard is okay. I just called to say good morning. I'm trying to distress for the state of my city. Haven't seen any representative as yet. Walls still falling down, no turning point. The mayor, see him with the gabs on the other day. I don't know what's taking place. You all just have a good day. I'm getting ready to go to the gym.
Did you say walls falling down, Miss Sampson?
Yes, since before COVID, I reporting the wall it's ridiculous now. If the wall fall, it have a precipice on the side of the wall is a walkway they have for us to come out of in the back here who don't have vehicles. And since before COVID, it hasn't been taken care of. It's worse now. I passed there this week and I was shocked. And the place more, see, if you slip, you're falling on a precipice on one side and the next side, the wall protruding, you cannot walk. I spoke to everybody, the last mayor, and everybody I could think of, nobody cares. Let's see what this government will do.
All right.
Okay, no problem, Miss Sampson. Miss Sampson, we had to get the mayor to take a little walk with Miss Sampson in that area. You know, Miss Sampson could show them all the ills, all the things that are taking place in San Fernando that they need to fix. And then we could bring her downtown to talk to the Port of Spain beer after.
Yeah. Good luck. Good luck, Miss Sampson.
Yes. Good morning to you, caller.
Yeah, morning, gentlemen. Norfolk, Virginia.
Virginia.
How you doing? Hello.
You gotta speak up a little bit there, Norfolk.
Yeah. Wake up, Virginia.
You're whispering like you want the wife here, you're calling.
Put on your bacchanal voice.
Hey, yeah. All right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, I do not. I have good news and bad news for you guys. Here's the good news. The good news is that, Wendell, I am not here to aggravate you. I feel your pain. I feel your pain, my brother. Right? And here's the bad news. You know when they say when things change, didn't really change? You see, with those appointment of these deputy political leaders, then as far as I'm concerned, it's business as usual. I was to this morning say that I was so impressed by the young man from Diego Martin, was Hans Devines, right?
Hans Devines.
Well, I said that the other day. I was so impressed, and I said that is the future for the PNM if they want to. Well, guess what? The old guard, they will make sure he stay there, right?
Now,
and just like everywhere else, right? Good talent will go to waste.
Virginia,
this is how I look at it. So you know what, man? As I say, you know, when the current leaderships of the PNM or the UNC win, nobody else who is valid or the true patriots of Trinidad and Tobago or the true citizens do not win. Have a good day, gentlemen.
Yeah. And I want to add to that, Let me tell you, I want to add to that. When the PNM executive elections took place the other day, when they spoke to these people, Carl Membert said he was no longer interested in an executive position because he is on his way out of politics. No problem. He's been there a long time too, just like Dr. Rory, right? Jennifer Batiste also declined to contest the labor relations officer position because she was no longer interested in an executive position. Not so, but you put them back in the executive above all the people who went up for election. You put them back as deputy political leaders above everybody else who went up for election. What absolute nonsense, Mrs. Beckers-Robinson. What absolute nonsense. Sanjeev Boodoo, fine. He contested, he lost. He's a new candidate, he's a new face. You understand? He brings fresh ideas. What could Carl Membert and Jennifer Batiste Primus bring to the PNM right now? They put them above executive members who went up for election. You have placed them above them. By giving them deputy political leaders position, they are now literally your right hand. Above all the people who contested. And they just say they're not interested. But you put them above that? Oh, give me a break. All you was raise my blood pressure today. Not today, no?
You didn't start to raise it, but Virginia caused that. Good morning, Mr. Billy.
Good morning. Take it easy, Wendell. We need you around. You're a good man for mayor. Yeah, take it easy.
Not with them, not with Carl Membert in charge of legislative.
I want to take the opportunity on this medium to shout out to all the members of the Defense Force serving and veteran. Yesterday, the veteran had a 5K at La Resort Sports Ground, and it was a resounding success. I want to thank you, Sir Charles, for giving us some airplay on it. I want to greatly thank you on the radio station and TV for doing that. And I want to shout out all the men in 1990 who are there and stand against that insurgent that tried to overthrow the country and defended democracy. I want to shout you out this morning and say, well done, guys. Well done, guys. And I want to say that
you were still in the service then, right?
Yes, I was there at the time.
You were still there, right?
And I'm happy to get a medal. We all get a medal. We have a medal we wear, and whenever we go to any function, all the 10 of the democracy of Trinidad and Tobago. So I want to shout out all members, serving, and the veterans. People, all the Major Jack, who is our veteran president. I want to call him out this morning for staging such a wonderful 5K up at the La Resort sports ground yesterday. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to highlight that.
Okay, thanks very much. The veterans came out with their families to walk, run.
It's pouring rain in Arima, even though I'm seeing sunlight. Anyway, we have 3 minutes of your calls again. We can take some more calls. If people disagree with me on this thing, fine. I have no problem with that. But two people indicated that they are on their way out. They're not interested in executive positions. They are on their way out. You have now put them above everybody else who contested executive positions.
All right, we have a caller there. Caller, good morning to you.
Hey, morning, gentlemen. I too would like to endorse the sentiments of the previous caller about the sacrifice of persons in 1990. It happened the year before I enlisted, but you would have heard the stories of privations that people went through who were serving at that time. And I thought it was a very nice gesture by Commissioner Guevara yesterday to recognize the ultimate sacrifice paid by SRP Solomon McLeod. Actually, visiting the grave with his family and so on, and they had a parade in his honor. I thought that was nice. I look forward to see what is the appropriate monument that will be erected by the government that's committed by the Prime Minister. Mr. Stevens, you are 100% correct, and I support you at 1,001%. Because I'm saying, if you want to capture the cohort of persons who did not vote, the 102,000 who withheld their votes, and the people who will be eligible to vote in the coming 5 years and in other elections coming up, that is a retrograde step with those persons announced as deputy political leaders. I make no apologies for saying that. Yeah. Right? I'm saying if you like you, if you didn't want people who offer themselves, you could have gone in another direction. There were other people there within the ranks and the membership who you could have chosen, and for whatever is your reason, I hope when you come and explain that in the next political meeting that it will be shouted down and that decision will be reduced. Have a good day, gentlemen. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Call out before you go. And I think they've named a particular part of the police administration building behind after Solomon McLeod, haven't they?
Yeah, they had named the lecture theatre on the first floor of them. So he was other than that, because there's also another person by the name of Mr. Malcolm Basanta.
I remember him.
The Alibi was named after him. He was one of the men who were injured. And also the highest ranking officer who died from the police service was ASP Roger George. I don't think anything was named after him, but he was also one of the casualties. He was on duty at the Red House as the senior officer when the attack took place.
Right. Okay, thanks for that information. Take care.
Yeah.
I know I attended a meeting in police admin once, and I saw the name Solomon McLeod on the name of by the doorway to that particular thing. That was during Carnival time, and I used to go and attend meetings there. All right.
There's and as I heard Virginia was talking about hands, veins and stuff. There's a process with these things. You don't just come today and as good as you are. We have some young ones coming between himself and what Shima's son, his name is
Kareem.
I have some young ones, but trust me, they have some stalwarts that don't just move aside just like that.
I understand.
They have to be in the thing all the time.
Yeah, I understand the need for experience, because people will tell me maybe they need experience there in the leadership. Yes, But you have experience. You still have other people who with experience. Colm Imbert said he was not interested in any executive position again because he was on his way out. You have now put him on top of all the people who contested executive positions as a deputy political leader. Jennifer Baptiste Primus was labor relations officer. She said she was not interested. You've now put her above all the people who contested positions. I have no problem with Sanjeev Boodoo. I don't know him at all from Adam. He is new, fine. You want to promote him in that way, no problem.
But final call inside in the session very quickly. Caller, good morning. Before we go to the morning poll. Caller. Hello, good morning.
Hi, gentlemen. Good morning.
Good morning.
Wendell.
Yes, sir.
The information that Watchman explained with Dr. Rowley's incident, did Gary Griffith and also Gavin Nicholas know about that?
At the time, no. When we interviewed them, Watchman didn't release his statement as yet.
But they would have been aware of it. They should have been aware of it.
Maybe, I don't know. But not Gavin. Gary kind of mirrored some of what Watchman was saying.
Okay. All right, now.
Okay, no problem. Right. Yeah, in a real way, Gary already said more the same thing.
Yeah, Gary kind of said a lot of the same thing that Watchman went into more detail. But Gary basically said, if you remember Gary's contribution when he started, he said the 44% who voted, they agreed with Dr. Rowley is right. And the 22% who voted against him may be also right. Who voted with the police may be also right. And Watchman kind of think that.
All right. Morning poll time.
Yeah. All right. So this is our poll this morning, people. I will call the results. Sir Charles has the responsibility for writing today. So just know that, right?
I am the Taliban today. Not the Taliban, eh? The Taliban.
Yeah, the Taliban. The poll is based on our musings over the attempted coup of 1990. And it is, do you believe that we have learned anything from the events of the 1990 attempted coup? Do you believe we have learned anything? Let's poll that this morning. People only could go ahead and debate other issues, but we polling now, right?
Yeah. All right. So 281-1315, you can start to vote. Yes or no?
Do you believe we have learned anything from the events of the 1990 attempted coup? Yes or no? All right. When you're ready, Sir Charles, let me know.
Yeah, I'm ready for you, man.
Boy Bidesi, no. Diane Payne, no. Mrs. R, yes. Margaret Thomas, no. Robert Harper, a massive no. Cheryl Henry, no. Magic, no. Richard Phillip, no. We have learned absolutely nothing. Ricardo Jeffers, definitely no. Ava Smith, no. Keep the votes coming, people. G Light is a new name. No. Do you believe we have learned anything from the events of the attempted coup of 1990? That's our poll this morning. Yesterday was the 35th anniversary of that. Do you believe we have learned anything? KW John Leap, no. Josie Richardson, no. Miguel Gonzalez, no. Michael Mapp, no. Cheryl M, no. Kenwin Henry, no. Kazim Mohammed, no. CJ from New York, no. KT, nah. Morning, KT. Those are the results. Alistair Hart, no. Susan Jessup, no. Estelita Sampson, no. And I think we could break, we have 30 seconds again before we get
30 seconds.
All right. Even though the time on the chat coming up at 7, Julia Batiste also says no. Magic, of course she was Magic. DL, yes. Trini gets fit, no. So we'll take it. We'll stop there, go for the news, and when we come back from the news, any votes coming after Trini gets fit, we will add it to our tally. All right, people? We'll be back.
The news you need, the clarity you deserve. Local, regional, global. This is Net Radio News Now.
This is News Now on New Era TT Radio. I'm Derek, in for Amanda today. Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar has announced plans to establish a national memorial for the victims of the 1990 coup attempt. In a message marking the 35th anniversary of the attack, she honored those who died and those who defended the nation, including police officers, members of parliament, media workers, and ordinary citizens. The Prime Minister paid tribute to fallen heroes like SRP Solomon McLeod, MP Leo de Vinge, and ASP Roger George. Persad-Bissessar recalled her administration's 2014 Commission of Inquiry into the coup and promised to resume work paused since 2015. She reaffirmed her government's commitment to updating national security reforms and creating a memorial after returning to office 3 months ago. She condemned the coup plotters, calling them no patriots, and praised those who stood firm, like then Prime Minister A.N.R. Robinson and his cabinet colleagues who were held hostage but never surrendered. Calling for eternal vigilance, she urged citizens to defend democracy, stating power must always change hands by ballots, not bullets. A plot to assassinate a judge and the director of public prosecutions was a key factor behind the declaration of a state of emergency on July 18th. Police Commissioner Alistair Guevara requested the measure after intelligence uncovered in prison cells revealed plans by gang leaders to target the two high-ranking officials. The evidence, found during searches at the Wayne Jackson building of the maximum security prison, included newspaper clippings and personal data related to the DPP. Intelligence sources say the plot was the result of a rare alliance between rival gangs operating under a unified structure behind prison walls. These gangs, known collectively as GR8, include the G Squad, Resistance, and Anybody Gets It, and reportedly operate like a business with an executive-style leadership. The involvement of a senior prison officer linked to one gang leader has also raised concerns, with authorities considering disciplinary action. Despite recent security crackdowns, rogue officers are still smuggling cell phones to inmates, each valued at $2,500, and carrying verbal messages between us. Investigations are ongoing. Former Attorney General Anand Ramlogan has come out in strong support of the government's proposed Stand Your Ground legislation, saying it would protect law-abiding citizens from violent home invasions. Speaking at a public consultation in Faizabad, Ramlogan compared the proposal to similar laws in U.S. states like Florida, which remove the duty to retreat when threatened. He challenged critics to give up their U.S. visas if they opposed such laws, pointing out that many who migrate to America seek safety under those very protections. He described the legislation, along with the right to bear arms, as pure political genius, crediting Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar for pushing both reforms. While acknowledging the bill would be controversial, Ramlogan argued it sends a strong message to criminals. He emphasized, however, that the law is not a license for vigilante justice and would still require proportionality when force is used. The man accused of killing former state prosecutor Randall Hector has confessed to carrying out the hit and has named two gang leaders who allegedly ordered the execution from behind prison walls. Hector was gunned down outside a Port of Spain church on December 31st, just after delivering a sermon. His alleged killer, now behind bars on a separate murder charge, is reportedly a member of the Resistance gang. Sources say he confessed that instructions came through his gang boss, who was relaying orders from another imprisoned gang leader controlling the G Squad. Though longtime rivals, the two gangs had reportedly formed an alliance inside prison. Despite the confession, charges are still pending, as the Director of Public Prosecutions has called for more independent evidence. The G Squad leader, a longtime suspect in multiple murders, is accused of orchestrating attacks from prison for over 2 decades, using illegal phones, corrupt intermediaries, and coded networks. Authorities believe Hector's murder was retaliation for his role in a past prosecution. In regional news, the government of Belize is strongly condemning all acts of sexual violence against children, following what it describes as heinous assaults on minors. In a joint statement, the Ministry of Human Development and the National Commission for Families and Children expressed outrage over recent reports involving both boys and girls, calling for stronger community vigilance, swift justice, and robust protection systems. This comes after former Belizean ambassador and ex-mayor Saeed Badi Guerra was charged with multiple offenses, including sexual assault, and granted bail. The charges stem from an alleged incident involving a 16-year-old boy. Authorities say such acts cause lifelong trauma and must never be excused, regardless of the perpetrator's status. They're calling for immediate investigations, appropriate sentencing, and support for survivors. Citizens are urged to report abuse, support victims, and remember that no one is above the law. The government reaffirmed its commitment to child protection, education, and prevention. In international news, Greece is battling 5 major wildfires amid a severe heat wave, with temperatures expected to soar to 44 degrees Celsius today. The hardest hit areas include the islands of Kythera and Evia, where strong winds and high heat continue to fuel flare-ups. Authorities have issued evacuation orders for multiple villages, and 6 firefighters have been hospitalized with burns and smoke inhalation. In Messenia and Attica, home to the capital Athens, homes, farmland, and forests have sustained serious damage. Greece has requested help from the European Union, deploying helicopters and water-bombing planes in the fight. Meanwhile, neighboring Turkey has recorded its highest temperature ever, 50.5 degrees, in the southeastern city of Silopi. Fires continue to burn across several regions, including Karabakh and Eskişehir, where 10 people were killed battling the flames last week. Officials in both countries are warning that the risk of new fires remains extremely high as the region grapples with worsening heat and drought. And that's news at this time.
That was news now. Stay informed with New Era TT Radio. Net Radio.
Your mid-morning just got better. Join Sir Charles for the mid-morning mix and mingle, where good music, real talk, health, and family matters come together, and your voice is heard. Whether you're at work, on the go, or just taking a break, this is the perfect mix to keep you engaged, informed, and entertained. The mid-morning mix and mingle, weekdays, 9 a.m. to 12 noon on New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
Men, women, tired of the invasive, painful old methods of testing prostate and breasts?
The Institute of Health and Fitness Clinic and Wellness Center offers comprehensive and non-invasive diagnostic testing, which indicates the nature and extent of diseases and tests your nutritional levels. Our quick testing can identify early signs of problems by evaluating many of the bodily functions, such as male and female sexual function, gastrointestinal function, liver function, kidney function, thyroid function, heart and brain function, and also cancer testing. Results are comparable with other medical lab tests without the use of needles or embarrassing specimen cups, and is pain-free. We also offer all natural treatments. Visit us now at number 79 St. Vincent Street, Tunapuna, or call 492-7397 or 289-6363.
Mornings just got better. You're locked into Net Radio Breakfast Show, fueling your day with the best music and real talk.
Bring down the power. The power of love, I say, is the greatest power. Stop hell and damnation. Bring down the power. Love to heal a nation is the greatest power. A wind of destruction is oppression of man. Now the time come to sit down and rediscover what's life. Show the world the true meaning of real love, power, not strife. Bring down the power of love, I say. The power of love, I say, is the greatest power. Stop hell and damnation. Bring down the power. Love to heal a nation. Put a hand on the fire and cleanse the wicked. Right now. All of them who does worship, greed and vanity must bow. Unity is the banner, so come together. I say, and this love is for freedom, it's growing stronger each day. Bring down the power of love, I say. The power of love, I say, is the greatest power. Stop hell and damnation. Bring down the power. Love to heal a nation.
Morning vibes, fresh energy. This is the NETT Radio Breakfast Show.
Bring down the power of love, I say. Bring down the power. Yeah, and of course, power is now here on New Era TT Radio. Don't look for the power anywhere else. Everybody, good morning to you, and of course, welcome inside of our second hour here. Of course, it is New Era TT, the heartbeat of the Caribbean. And of course, we just want to let you know that we stream all day, every day at newera.ttradio.com. New Era TT Radio for all those who are on TuneIn. You put us in your browser, and of course, you will get us. To all the folks on our YouTube feed, especially right now on Facebook, good morning to you. And while you're on the YouTube, or even if you're on the television stream on M&E TV, and I got to say much thanks to the folks at M&E TV, taking us to all the cable channels. Remember, you can go across to our YouTube channel, right? And of course, make sure you like, subscribe. And remember, your next engagement on the YouTube will come at around 4 p.m. this afternoon with our afternoon drive time exchange with journalist Tony Fraser. We got more great conversation for you taking place there, okay? All right, so stick around and we will be back shortly.
Charm Flair Auto Services Limited, your one-stop auto repair shop. Located at number 1 Industrial Lane, Charm Flair, right opposite the brewery on the Eastern Main Road. Yes, we do it all. Repairs to all makes and models, from your everyday sedan to SUVs, light trucks, pickups, and panel vans. We're also the sole distributors of Devante tires, certified VTS inspection station, plus a wide range of services: oil change, front end and suspension repairs, tune-ups, tire alignment, batteries, electrical work, radiator and cooling system, AC repairs, and accessories galore. We offer pickup and drop-off service too. Call us today at 662-6545 or 662-6572. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Charm Flair Auto Services Limited, number 1 Industrial Lane, Charm Flair. We do it all.
Looking for trusted, affordable security and property services? Horatio Services has you covered across Trinidad and Tobago. We offer battle security, K9 patrols, 24/7 protection, and all sorts of private investigations, discreet, professional, and effective. But that's not all. We also provide construction. From building to renovation, we bring your vision to life. Landscaping, keep your outdoors looking sharp and inviting. Maintenance, repairs, upkeep, and everything in between. At Horatio Services, you get professionalism, reliability, and personal care. Whether it's safety or property support you need, visit us at Marino Street, Arima, or call 388-7070 today. Horatio Services, protection, precision, peace of mind.
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box.
Advertise with us on New Era TT Radio, the fastest growing streaming platform for talk in Trinidad and Tobago. Audio and video ads welcome. Elevate your brand with us. Connect with us at newerattradio@yahoo.com or call us at 299-5156. Now what are you waiting for?
All right, we are back from our 7 o'clock news. And of course, all our commitments, and say special good morning to the people who have chosen to advertise with us and the people who will in fact make that decision very soon. Good morning to Gary Adge from Chamflair Auto, Horatio from Horatio Enterprises, Furniture Plus, Mr. Amjad Ali and Kavita Singh, and of course, all the others who are joining us as we make this the absolute best morning show on radio or on the virtual platform anywhere in the World Wide Web. I think that's what it is. www, that's what it's for. So Charles, World Wide Web.
The World Wide Web.
Yep. www.net. something. I don't know. On fine. The breakfast show. Just Google the breakfast show. I want people to ask how to find you all. I say just put up the breakfast show and it'll come up.
Yeah,
breakfast
you'll find us, you know.
Yeah. All right. So we have some more votes. So Charles, you ready for them?
Yeah, man.
All right. Trini Gets Fit was the last vote we had. We have Ann Noel, no. Wayne Joseph, no. Carlisle Cupid, no. Our children haven't been enlightened. Carol Guevara said you did not call my vote, Wendell. Okay, maybe I think you voted no. I'm sure I did. Lester Cragwell says we haven't learned anything since Dr. Williams left. Beauty Culture says good morning. Dean Allen says the coup at the time was a land dispute that got out of control. I think it was a little more than that, Dean. Marlon Motley says no. Brennan Smith, no. Lyndon Williams, no. Ron DeSantis Jr., hell no. Richard Phillip says, I don't know what that is. That's maybe connecting to something else. Magic and Carlisle are also arguing over the Batiste Primus thing, and you both have points, but I'm sorry. She said she wasn't interested in an executive position again. She should not have been given one. I could care less what she did before. She shouldn't have been given one, especially above people who went up for elections. Michael Oliver says no. Beauty Culture also says no. Sir Charles, great selection. Michael Robinson says no. And Annie Bunyan also says no. Right? So our poll, of course, was, do you believe that we have learned anything from the events of the 1990 attempted coup? And Terry and George came in with a late no. You have any, Sir Charles?
Yeah. All right. So let me tell you what I got. Okay. 1 minute here. Right. So Miss Sampson says no. Mr. Billy says no. Terry Ann Peter says no. Black Pearl says yes. Junior says no. Cynthia Aaron says no. Judith says no. Joseph Clement says no. So I think that's everybody I have here. Any other last minute stragglers on your side?
RJ, that's the only last minute straggler. RJ says no. So you can add up there And Compton Crumple. RG, that's the only last minute shot. RG said we can add up there.
I was wondering why I was hearing that in the background there. Right. Okay, so we had 50 people voting on the poll this morning, and 47 said no, and 3 said yes. So 47 of you said no, we have not learned anything. That means it could come back again at any point in time.
Well, it has come back in different forms.
Yeah. You know, but so yeah, that's the morning poll for today.
All right.
I do not have anything to crump and crumble because I try to keep my surroundings clean.
You're saying Richard dirty? Is that what you're saying? Richard like dirty paper all over the place?
All this other paper you like pelted behind the place, you understand? So yeah.
Trust me, when we were in studio, there was a bin in the corner, and Richard would be forever trying to put something into that bin from where he was sitting, and he failed almost every time.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Richard is at his job.
I tell you what, if I decided to go and clean up his house, I would do.
Anyway, our guest is already in the green room, Rondell Fields. So let's introduce him with our promo now, Sir Charles.
Yeah, let's do our Let's Talk segment, people.
Yeah.
All right, and there we have him, Rondell Fields. Oh, he looks like in some other part of the world. I don't know if that is an actual background.
Not hearing.
Rondell, you're not hearing us?
Are you hearing us, Rondell?
He has on earpieces.
If you guys are talking to me, I'm not hearing you talk. I'm not hearing you at all. I heard the promo music, the intro music, but I'm not hearing you guys at all.
But we are hearing you loud and clear.
Yeah, that
You
is a strange
you
one.
better take off the earpiece and go. Is it a phone you're using or your laptop? Well, if he's not hearing me,
He's not hearing. Yeah, he's not hearing. Okay.
You want to try logging out and logging back?
Should I log out and log back in?
Yes.
Yeah, do that. Log out and log back in. And if you're having problems, you may have to remove the headphones.
Yeah, I think his Bluetooth may not be. Sometimes that happens with mine too.
Yeah.
You know. So we have Rondell Fields coming up very shortly, people. So just hold on. You all can continue to chat. But as I nut cake, you are a nut cake, you know, or what it is, a nut case. So don't know what the question is, but I would like to say no.
He's just going with the crowd.
He's a nut case, not nut cake. He's a nut cake.
And you see, and for all the other persons that came in on the WhatsApp who came in late, that's why we tell you guys throughout the news, vote, so we can get your votes inside. You know.
Yeah.
So let's try it again. Let's see.
All right. We
Right.
have
Mr.
Rondell.
Are you hearing us now?
Rondell, are you hearing us now?
Yeah, you guys loud and clear.
Right. Great.
Okay.
Technology.
Good to have you. Welcome.
And
Thank you for having me.
Rondell, what's the name of your organization now? Is it Single Fathers or Single Parent?
No, it's the Fathers Association. We rebranded. We are still in the registry.
His internet is giving a little trouble. I think it's an internet problem you have.
From Single Fathers Association to the more inclusive Fathers Association of Trinidad and Tobago. And I will tell you that was intentional because what I was experiencing is that when I went to a lot of these school visits and school tours, a lot of young boys were saying they want to aspire to be a single father. And that was never our modus operandi. Our modus operandi was the strengthening of the nuclear family, fathers being present, and if all else fails, fight for your rights to be a father. So unlike on the other part of the pendulum where there is a loading of single motherhood, we although we have an observance and respect for single fatherhood, we understand the nuclear family is the goal, and parents staying together, or at least trying the very best where it's possible to do so, is what the goal really is. If that doesn't happen, then by all means, you persevere to be the best father you can continue to be.
But why would you think young people, school children in those cases, would want to aspire to be a single father?
I mean, think about it. Is what our social response or social reaction to things, as I pointed out before, and that what actually woke it up in my mind as well. That gave me the rude awakening that there's a certain and specific type of loading that we have for single motherhood, more than just motherhood generally. You understand? Because there's the interpretation that, all right, a single mother goes through a lot more than a married mother may, and that may not always be the case in every scenario. So from that standpoint, we decided at the end of the day, the goal is fatherhood. It's always been our goal for positive and healthy, and for fathers being able to have an equitable space when it comes to parenting. So it wasn't specifically to be aspired to be a single father, but specifically to aspire to be a father that is present, a father that is active, a father that is involved, and a father that will not allow anything or anybody to remove them from the lives of their children.
Now, Ronald, the last couple of weeks we would have had as our guest an attorney, Racer Caesar, who spoke about sexual harassment or harassment in general in the workplace, but more specifically sexual harassment. And of course, a lot of that centered around women being harassed, okay? And of course, we would have had some recent cases that came to light. How prevalent is it that men are also harassed in the workplace, from your standpoint?
And it goes back to our initial point, right? Social perception, which in other words, I believe engenders cultural belief and cultural practice. So many a man might be able to give you stories about women who say, hey, a backside look good boy. Or some of them that have been even emboldened enough to slap it. And for a man, sometimes he has the challenge of saying, if I cause her to be reprimanded, men might call me a soft man. If I don't take this snide remark, it may look like if I am homosexual. So you have to understand that the fact that you sometimes don't see the reporting or you don't see people advocating for certain things is because of the culture that we have engendered, the culture that we've created. And as testament to that as well, we could even look at the younger male. Let's not forget sexual harassment entirely, but look at the social eye or social view on an adult man having sexual interaction with a minor female. But then look at it on the next side. It seems to be more permissible, both by men and by women. A young boy who has sex with an adult woman, he seems to be more macho than his peers. He is glorified for some reason. There's no real concern by many people. So socially and culturally is what our social and cultural perception is what really stymies sometimes the number of reporting that you're going to see there. Because if you don't feel like a victim, then you don't see yourself as a victim. Then if you don't see yourself as a victim, then you don't report anything. She just playing by. The girl like you a long time. Whereas in the vice versa, a man who find a woman is nice and says the wrong thing, she will do and take the appropriate steps, which is the right so to do. But because we've been cultured a particular way as men, that here what? At the end of the day, you're not really sexual victims, You cannot be a victim of sexual perpetration against you. You've been cultured and indoctrinated from as young as a boy, as I just identified before, that they're just part of your passenger rights. You understand? If you sow your seeds from young, it means that there's a level of machismo that you have that other men or other male counterparts may not have. So on one arena, even from as young as girls, we have sensitized the public. We have cultured the public in the correct way. But on the other side of the pendulum again, from very small, we've told young boys they cannot be victims of of sexual harassment or even sexual abuse. Do you understand the number of boys that are sexually abused by both men and women? Mm-hmm. And they're afraid to report it in any form of fashion. Right. Because one, if it's a woman, you might be viewed as a soft man, even if you go in the station and say. And two, if it's a man, people will then label you, if you're not of a homosexual inclination, people will start to call you things that you do not see yourself as. And that in itself could be emasculating for you. And in your mind, cause an even greater problem. So whereas the young woman, if she is sexually abused, she is covered and she's protected. Our social perception has driven us, has cultured us, has engendered a sort of thinking and a belief that kind of encourage men not to report if they have been victims of sexual abuse or sexual harassment.
Because I suspect in a lot of cases, young men may not even be aware that they are being abused. They might, they don't know the signs.
Of course, and I mean biological the biological dispositions of men and women will even have this scenario. So a young girl that gets pregnant and goes into medical, you ask a question, why you are 15 years old and pregnant? Who got you pregnant? But a 30-year-old woman who gets pregnant, you don't need to ask her a question. She's an adult, even though it may be a 15-year-old boy who got her pregnant. So there are certain challenges, even biologically, that kind of keeps the young male victim continuing to be a victim. So, and these are things that you have to discuss. These are the conversations we have to have, particularly with young boys, so that they understand that they can be preyed upon. And most times you hear about a male sexual predator, go check the history. Somebody interfered with them when they was younger. Somebody was an uncle or an aunt, or somebody had some unnatural sexual relationship with them when they were minors and nobody heard about it. And the reason they would not have heard about it was for a number of those reasons I just labeled before.
Yeah. But Randall, as you mentioned that particular area of the young boys and men being under pressure, because society sees it a particular way, and if they try to report it or they make noise about it, how they are looked upon, not just by the women, but how they are looked upon by their peers. Boy, what kind of man you is? Boy, I wish that was me, and that sort of thing. Okay. To men finding themselves in that kind of position, what are you saying to them this morning?
You have to be able to see yourself as a victim also. And it extends even to domestic violence as well. In every form, we have not sensitized men of their vulnerabilities. We have not told men that they can be victims as well. We have not held internationally funded projects that showed men that they are vulnerable and they can be prey as much as they can be predator. So, I mean, it's more than just telling men what to do, because I could say anything on a screen, you could say anything as well. For one point in time, it is taking a conscious effort beyond me. So yes, it's good for me to advocate and good for others who understand what I am saying to advocate also. But there must be a conscious move from state as well, in the very same ways that we see it. There must be when it pertains to women, there must be a conscious move also when it comes from international organizations that we are allowed to come in here, even the UN Women and these organizations, to admit and also put out there that there are young boys that face these things, so at least the younger generation and even the existing male adult population as well, start saying to themselves, this is not right. There are some men, which one of us men, and if we go into the realm of physical abuse, could say that we haven't had a partner that struck us. Not a man. Every time I speak to men, if they look at every relationship that they've had, they can identify they've had a woman that spat on them, slapped them, threw an object at them, attacked them, and it was all normalized because you are the man and you are perceived to be automatically the stronger in the party, so you could dust that off. But the very same scenario in the vice versa is something that socially you would frown upon. So think about it. If we don't make a conscious effort, yes, advocacy is important, that's what we do, and I talk about it. But even from a national standpoint, talking about from state, so when we pass and we see the billboard, we see billboards that talk about ending violence or ending domestic violence towards men as well. When we see bumper stickers that are printed and issued by so many international organizations and given at so many different events, we see some sensitizing men of their vulnerability as well. Because if you don't do that and they feel like, all right, I can't be a victim in this scenario, you get a lot of what you see going on right now. People taking actions into their own hands and then ending their own lives after. So,
you know, Rondell, I don't know if you're aware. I don't know if you're aware of this young man who apparently went missing, and his sisters posted, and I'll read it for the listeners because they may not be aware of it. These are posts from the young man's sister. It says, "Good afternoon, people. I am the sister of Chris. He is not missing. He is safe at home. There's a reason for his leaving. He did get in contact with his wife that said day and told her that he's leaving and did give her the reason for leaving." And this is another post from another sister. It says, "I am another sister and I would like to add that he is indeed safe. He was never missing. He left her after years of abuse by her and he told her that she is a narcissist. It's better he leave. Mommy always said don't hit a woman. He took abuse for years by this little girl. She didn't take his leaving too well and looking for attention and to make a scene. He is safe, everyone. Thanks for the thing." How prevalent is that?
I mean, it's prevalent in many relationships. And if that second sister's post encapsulated all of what we just spoke about before. She spoke about the way her mother cultured him, which all of our mothers cultured her, particularly if you were raised by a single mother, which most of us were. We were always taught, never put your hands on a woman, but we were hardly ever taught what applies to us, that you should not let anybody put their hand on you as well, right? So we've been taught one side of the pendulum, and understandably so, because we were raised by women who possibly were abused. So in other words, they trying to not make their sons abusive would tell them, don't ever put your hand on a woman. But she is teaching them out of the trauma she went through. And the trauma he may have witnessed and may have already witnessed it long enough to know without her telling him that he would not put his hands on a woman. So that the sister encapsulated how many years of domestic violence. What's the definition of domestic violence under our Act of Domestic Violence? It is broad. We always use domestic violence, sometimes interchangeably with intimate partner violence. Domestic violence involves more than the intimate partners. Anybody that's within the household, it could be a stranger that's living there. Once you share that household, you experience some form of violence, that's domestic violence. So what we're talking about here more so is intimate partner violence, spousal violence. And that is broad as well. It's an intimate partner violence is really a subset of domestic violence. Intimate partner violence, which is a subset of domestic violence, as I said before, is broad. It's emotional. It's physical, which is the only one everybody talks about. But it's emotional, it's psychological, it's monetary, it's sexual. It's all these things are covered by law. Financial abuse, all these things are covered by law. However, what is the reactionary approach of those who are to enforce the law if it is a scenario where it is not physical? What are they going to do? That's why most times they tell everybody, go man, make up with your wife. Have we enshrined the parts of bits in the law that says, well, hey, if a man comes and reports that he's being emotionally abused or he's being verbally abused or whatever, that the person who abuses him is put on some particular type of counsel or some particular type of service that helps her treat with that type of abuse that she's inflicting on him. Because most times or many times, let's say he didn't decide to leave, and he decided to respond. I don't know, his sister didn't say it was physical violence he was enduring pelting a bottle at him, or if it was a cursing or emasculating, saying, boy, my last husband or my last man was better in bed than you, all these kind of things that he was enjoying. And a day, the man who was deemed to be so quiet snapped and had a loss of his composure and did something physical that either harmed the lady or either killed the lady. That is the part you would see in the newspaper. You would not see the part that he endured for years. You would see part of the action he took because he did not take any other form of action before. Because even to him, he didn't see himself as a victim, like part of being a man. So sometimes not understanding when you are enduring abuse could lead you to have a spur of the moment, an abusive reaction that leaves you in the end socially viewed as the person who's always been the abuser. And that has happened many a time. I remember a father he represented over 12 years ago. The woman would beat on him until I picked up a rocking chair and broke her hand. That made the newspaper.
Yeah. Ronald, how interactive is your organization with the TTPS, where most, if not all, these reports eventually end up? Because we've heard so many reports of the TTPS not taking men seriously, or some even not taking some women seriously when they say, "Oh, go back home and make up with your husband," or yeah, we do have a car now, we will come, and it eventually explodes into a murderous situation.
All right. So now, we work very closely for years with the TTPS, particularly the ambits of the community police, the ambits of the gender-based violence unit, these special victim crimes unit. That is most of the places where you would see domestic issues take place, from community policing, assistance with community policing, the gender-based violence. These are the areas that you need to engage. So sometimes there's a double-edged sword. So they would you would hear the TTPS say, go anywhere and make a report. But then somebody goes to make a report in the normal side of the station, the normal department, and the first thing is they go GDP. So somebody who already frustrated, must have been waited a long time in the line. They didn't take your report, now you got to go gender-based violence with that. And that sometimes at some point in time is a turn off for the person's initial report making. And that goes for men and I'm pretty sure women as well. Right? What I would see that may be a little different when it comes to men and women when you go to the gender-based violence unit. It is because most times the composition of the unit is 80% women officers versus 20% male officers. So sometimes, and many a time also, and we have I don't say anything I can prove, many a time I had to call the head of the department at that time, Superintendent Guy Allen, to intervene because one of the officers was making an emotional move. She can attest to how frustrated she used to be sometimes. That no matter how many cultural training or how much cultural issues that they brought up to train their officers in, they will also sometimes rotate somebody in who is impacted possibly by social perception that exists in our society or their personal experience where they make the wrong judgment call. So they don't take the man's report seriously. Or when it comes to make a report, so the woman lashed you just so. Look at your size. So she hit you just so. That way you're saying, that way I want me to believe, all right, am I right there? Give me the man number now. Give me the woman number now. So automatically, there's already, he don't tell himself, well, boy, I didn't have nowhere where I am made to feel protected or to feel good, even before protected. Just this concern. Yeah. So we had a video that went viral in the Sandy Grande station, where, and the thing is what the vice versa, where the female junior officer was trying to take the report from the man, and the male senior officer and other male officers came in and was quarreling with the man whose face was bloodied. Is the woman you like so? Is the woman quality private part? You like so? How much time this woman do you that? How much time did he tell you about that? You like licks and attacking the man instead of trying to counsel him, try to find a location where he could get the assistance, refer him to the GDP, to somebody in particular who, you know, could treat with his issue, and not just say go to the GDP. You understand? So when it comes to men at the GDP, we have encountered that over the years. I'm not saying that we haven't had them intervene, but I would always say many times it would be prompted by a phone call from Rundle Fields, a phone call from Siobhan Lewis, a phone call from Wendell Grant, a phone call from some representative of the single fathers or the Fathers Association, as we are rebanded now, that had to give that extra juke. And I'm not saying that there hasn't been instances that we have not involved in where they've done what they're supposed to. But I'm saying there are way too many that we've had to make a call to a superior to get a minor authority to do what they're supposed to.
Yeah. What about the intervention at the school? Well, even as low as primary school level, Rundle. How active are you all in that area? Because I mean, it worries me sometimes how I see young people, how they react to certain situations and what I see them posting and so on. And what is your involvement there?
They were through the community police, and we could only have that involvement. And the thing is, one of the easiest ways, unless the principal invites us, right? One of the easiest ways that we are able to get into these spaces and have these conversations is when the community police does their routine and does their routine visits and their routine seminars. And the sad thing is, not every station, district, or every region has community police that are so proactive. I can tell you about the Central Division, for sure they are. I can tell you about by Officer Shabodi and them, for sure they are proactive in that kind of way. So they will invite us, and then we start talking about the vulnerabilities of young boys. Particularly, we've been to Trinity East, we've been to Presentation, we've been to some of the schools in Lavantil as well, and they are most times surprised. Even we did one, I think, down in Barrackpore as well. But it's always based on the community areas where community policing is strong. And they're having a campaign generally, and when we're invited, we talk about the vulnerabilities of young men. Many of these young men quite surprised to know that men are 84% the victims of suicide, 4 out of every 5. Some of them, they've seen men dying every day, and they don't know that men are 90.7% the victims of murder. Men are 94% in the capital area, the victims of homelessness. So you live in your life as a young boy not knowing that there's a great percentage that these things, if not guided correctly or steered correctly or sensitized correctly, could befall you more likely than it befalls another young girl of your age and age bracket. It's obvious it can happen. So that's why we try our very best to accompany and partner multi-sectorally with these organizations like the TPS, particularly when they're going in, to have the campaigns where we know we'll have the support at the school and where we know we can impart some of this knowledge to young men. I had to stand up last year. The AG held a domestic violence seminar, and I think it was based on the ruling of the young lady that was murdered by, I think, her husband who came out of prison and he murdered, and I think the mother started a matter and was successful against the AG's department, saying that they didn't protect her, something of that nature. And firstly, the number of boys that was invited, the percentile of students there, there was possibly about 1% of the student percentile were young boys. And there was no mention by the panelists to expose the areas of where young boys can be victims, of where young boys are sexually preyed upon. And I have stories of young boys being preyed upon in prestige schools by teachers, preyed upon by cleaner, and they thinking that is the woman, right? But never an iota mentioned by the entire panel that was composed of a judge, composed of a legal advocate, child advocate, the AG himself, and other persons. I had to stand up and make mention of it. Even the 1 or 2 boys that went to the mic to speak, went to speak with very little conviction as though they had a place to speak, because the entire seminar was about males being perpetrators versus males also being a victim.
Yes, victim. So, Randa, listening to what you're saying there also, so it brings to mind, to persons who may be feeling that kind of way, what kind of support, if they reach out to the Fathers Association, do you on your team give to persons in situations who would need assistance?
But that's it. The fact that you see we have to reach out to some of these organizations like Gender-Based Violence Unit, the Special Crime Unit, it's because they reached out to us and the police didn't do anything. So we sometimes have to act as that intermediary force to get action from the forces they were supposed to get action without our involvement. That's primarily where it lies at. Many men will call when they speak to us. We first must educate them to let them know you understand you're being abused, you understand that even legally you're being abused as well. And even after that position, it's still challenging for us. It's still challenging for us to convince them that they're being abused because they're not seeing it in any other place that besides Single Fathers Association telling them that. We haven't seen any advertisements from the Gender-Based Violence Unit that does not put the man over the woman and the child cowering, the mother protecting the child and the man by the dog beating the dog. We have not seen a vice versa scenario from any other social space that we exist in. It's only Rondell Fields and his group telling us that we could be victims too. So whereas we hear it and whereas we see that in the law, it says what he says, I still am not programmed to feel like a victim. So someone coming to speak to us and we are advising them is good. And some people take it like that. But most of them say, anyhow, that done. Anyhow, I know this. She can't do that again. Anyhow, they just brush it off. There are those who want to take more affirmative action, and most times those who reach to that position are those where some action has been taken against them.
Right.
So
Rondell, do you have any problem with if we take a couple calls from people who may want to have a question?
Oh, of course not. I love that.
Okay, so people, if you would like to get in on the show, you can do so now at 281-1315. If you're out of the jurisdiction, 868-281-1315, as we are speaking with Rondell Fields, and he is the head of the Fathers Association, right, Rondell?
Yes, that's it. Fathers Association.
All right. So
single, married, divorced, separated, estranged. Any fathers out there, all fathers out there.
So while we wait to see what happens where the phones are concerned, Rondell, is there is there any safe spaces available through your network for people who may be experiencing any sort of abuse or just need to get away from what is taking place? Do you all have, or are you closely connected to safe spaces?
There's no safe spaces for men. You've heard me talk about that for the longest while. There are no shelters for men to say, well, all right, we have an issue here. You can leave. Imagine that the most homeless in society, there isn't a shelter. The most you will get is a drug rehabilitation. The most you may get, I know Mount St. Benedict has a place as well that I think you have to pay to go to. But the most places you find for men is drug rehabilitation centers, Shamrock Center, and these centers. But not a center for if you're displaced, not a center if you want to de-stress, not a center if you want to say, I could go here and take a week away, or I think I'm being abused, I should leave. Spaces where women have. There are no spaces for males like that. If a young boy, if a woman is being abused by her husband and she has a 13 or 14-year-old son, the police call me continuously asking me if there's a space they can send them to. And there isn't. We don't receive subventions. I've been asked by successive governments, and I have chosen not to at this point. Our work is volunteer. So they say that we have access to shelters and access to these places to have people sent. We advocated for them religiously. We had them bringing one about just before COVID in the southern area. And then when COVID hit, they turned it into a facility for the Children Authority. Then they revamped about 2 years ago, saying that they were going to now get another. And then I think Miss Hazel and Luke, was a good friend of mine, was driving that campaign, and she passed away. God bless her soul. So since then, now our government has changed. So I mean, since then, nothing has been done. And should it? I've mentioned this for years. I've raised these points I've been raising for years. Isn't it the responsibility of our leaders, our members of parliament, who know me very well, who heard me advocate very well, who call me when they want to have things in their constituency to speak, to sit now and say, hey, what are we doing about putting distress centers for men? Because it had to be, when with men too, it had to be strategic too. You would hear, when we're talking about, just jumping on the suicide a little bit, you would hear some psychologists talk about their psych centers across Trinidad and Tobago. So if men committing suicide want to have, they could go there. You have to understand the thinking of men, you have to understand the culture of men, especially since we have been the one that have cultured them poorly. You call a space a tight space. A man not going there. He's not a madman. Why going to for? For the performance center, for basketball court, for a place for him to play some pool, for him to run a little small goal, and still have the office there to do the psychosocial work as well. But do those things, have sessions on entrepreneurial skill and entrepreneurial development, things that will encourage his maleness to flourish, things that he will want to be a part of. But if you don't want to use the experiential knowledge on the ground that some of us have, and you think you can use the theoretical knowledge of those who come to study men like me and put it in a thesis, then you will waste your time because they don't have the on the ground experience. When you're developing a center and a space like that, you want it to be a place that a man does not feel he is broken. That's what we try to tell men to get help. You're broken. Not that you're beaten, Men need help because we have told them they are broken and they need to be fixed. Which in most times and many times, they're beaten into being broken. Whether it was from their family, whether it was from their wives, whether it was from who? The children as well sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, do we have any calls, Sir Charles?
So far, no, we don't. I thought we would have got some people in between on this particular subject, Yeah.
But I know people break some talking about these things. I mean, the chat is lively though. But Rondell, what's amazing to me? That after we have had so much exposure about what's been happening with people, especially men and boys and so on, we all know what's been happening with women and we all know what's been happening with girls. What we don't know is how prevalent it is with men and boys. And it's amazing that we can't get a campaign going from anybody, from any ministry, from Ministry of Sport, Ministry of Social Development, Ministry of Education, nothing. Because we have this taboo about talking about sex. And that's amazing in this day and age.
And it's something that we alone have in Trinidad. Because I can tell you, Grenada, St. Kitts, Nevis, all these nations, all the men like myself, Michael Stewart, to come and correct these things in their nations, to use the best practices and strategies that we have been lamenting on here, coming at the doors of the politicians here. They take them wholeheartedly. The other one right now is paternity leave. They're grabbing it and saying, kids and neighbors, they want to implement everything we're talking about. But in our own nation, it's frowned upon. We got ministers from across the region to come to International Men's Day, to come to walk and march in solidarity for the issues that men face. And not one member of our parliament attended, and they were invited. So it says, when we went there, not just only that, let me tell you why. When we went to the space they prepared for us, we had about almost 300 men that was there. They had 20 chairs because that was their expectancy, that only 20 men would come. 20 chairs and a podium and a 20 by 20 tent. So the minister didn't come, no member of cabinet came, no member of parliament at all came. You know how embarrassing that was for the other members, the ministers from Grenada, the delegates that came from Anguilla, that came from St. Kitts, that came from Nevis. They were surprised that our own government are unappreciative of the advocacy and the best practices and the approaches that we are trying to present to them to enrich the lives of men.
That is really something else.
I remember that.
Hold 1 minute.
How it came out.
Caller, good morning to you very quickly.
Pleasant good morning, Sir Charles, and pleasant good morning, Mr. Field. Pleasant good morning, Mr. Wendell.
Morning, sir.
Mr. Field, this is your lookalike. When people see me, people are you Mr. Field? I said no, Mr. Fields look like me. Yes. But Mr. Fields, I wanna encourage you to continue doing the work that you're doing. Right? You see the thing that you have with the fathers and the son where you would encourage, but you mostly have it on a Sunday, right? Chance shift with you too and see if you could work it out like on a Saturday too. Right? I know a Sunday everybody is home, but try to put it because I would like to come, but it is on a Sunday where it doesn't August well for me. Right? Sir Charles and Fields and Mr. Fields, I was looking at it about study in UE, where they was looking at the gender. And Sir Charles and Wendell and Mr. Fields, if you go into that and study them and talk about the woman, they talk about the child, and little or nothing is mentioned about the men. And I said, I'm amazed. I said, no, but they can be looking at the gender and leave out the male man.
Yeah.
You can go and you can look it up and you will be amazed. I looked on listening, Sir Charles, bless one.
Yeah,
And I'm not telling you why I don't disagree with him. Because the IGDS, when I formed the Single Fathers Association in 2011, one of our main supporters at that time, he ended up committing suicide a few years ago. Dexter Mahadio, at the hands of an abusive wife as well. Dexter Mahadio took us to meet the IGDS. That was a full female board, full female leadership. And they explicitly told me then, right before I decided to go on TV, before I decided to make anything public, I just wanted us to get the statistics for the hearing when it came to family court. Was men given a fair chance when they asked for custody? And they told me explicitly, whatever resources we are focused on women and children and nobody else. They say, you are a businessman, if you want to fund it, go right ahead and fund it. And that is when I decided that, hey, I have to make this public. I have to talk about this publicly, because definitely, if you just try to do things, not behind the doors, but try to do the things in a process that you think it should work, because if you're saying you are the studies department, for you, the gender studies division, I would have expected, just as a gentleman, that you must include men in your studies, but you must be equally excited to do research on men. I saw it again with the Ministry of Planning, where they were doing some CSO statistics or something of the nature. And they decided that they were going to go door to door to do studies and research on women and children. And I made a suggestion to the past Minister of Planning. If they are going already to the homes that men are present, or you're going to the community or the neighborhood, do studies on men one time. Particularly if we're from planning and you already know we have an issue it made evident from the Ministry of Social Development that we have an issue with homelessness. I would think that you would want us to have a report and a record and then be able to develop a strategy that we change these social ills in the lives of men. Nothing again. It's anything to be advocates for this novel.
I know it's been tough for you. I know it's been tough for you. Because I've followed you for years. So I know it's been tough for you.
Yeah.
But this is where we have to leave it. We are totally out of time. Ronald, it's been nice having you. And I know we can talk so many more. And for all the persons that decide to call when it's late, sorry about that. But thank you very much for being here with us.
Yeah. Well, Ronald, I hope you get some traction with this current Minister of Social Development. I know of the issues that you had with the past minister in the Gender Affairs Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister. I know of it, and I hope that you get a better traction with this current minister. All right.
That's it. So,
yeah, all the best. Thanks, Ronald. Thanks for joining us. All right. Of course, that was Rondell Fields, the head of the Fathers Association, doing a fantastic job for years. He has really been
for a
doing
long time.
Yeah.
All right. So let's take our news and we will be back.
The news you need, the clarity you deserve. Local, regional, global. This is Net Radio News Now.
This is News Now on New Era TT Radio. I'm Derek, in for Amanda today. Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar has announced plans to establish a national memorial for the victims of the 1990 coup attempt. In a message marking the 35th anniversary of the attack, she honored those who died and those who defended the nation, including police officers, members of parliament, media workers, and ordinary citizens. The Prime Minister paid tribute to fallen heroes like SRP Solomon MacLeod, MP Leo Devinge, and ASP Roger George. Persad-Bissessar recalled her administration's 2014 Commission of Inquiry into the coup and promised to resume work paused since 2015. She reaffirmed her government's commitment to updating national security reforms and creating a memorial after returning to office 3 months ago. She condemned the coup plotters, calling them no patriots, and praised those who stood firm, like then Prime Minister A.N.R. Robinson and his cabinet colleagues who were held hostage but never surrendered. Calling for eternal vigilance, she urged citizens to defend democracy, stating power must always change hands by ballots, not bullets. A plot to assassinate a judge and the director of public prosecutions was a key factor behind the declaration of a state of emergency on July 18th. Police Commissioner Alistair Guevara requested the measure after intelligence uncovered in prison cells revealed plans by gang leaders to target the two high-ranking officials. The evidence, found during searches at the Wayne Jackson building of the maximum security prison, included newspaper clippings and personal data related to the DPP. Intelligence sources say the plot was the result of a rare alliance between rival gangs operating under a unified structure behind prison walls. These gangs, known collectively as GR8, include the G Squad, Resistance, and Anybody Gets It, and reportedly operate like a business with an executive-style leadership. The involvement of a senior prison officer linked to one gang leader has also raised concerns, with authorities considering disciplinary action. Despite recent security crackdowns, rogue officers are still smuggling cell phones to inmates, each valued at $2,500, and carrying verbal messages between prisons. Investigations are ongoing. Former Attorney General Anand Ramlogan has come out in strong support of the government's proposed Stand Your Ground legislation, saying it would protect law-abiding citizens from violent home invasions. Speaking at a public consultation in Faizabad, Ramlogan compared the proposal to similar laws in U.S. states like Florida, which remove the duty to retreat when threatened. He challenged critics to give up their U.S. visas if they opposed such laws, pointing out that many who migrate to America seek safety under those very protections. He described the legislation, along with the right to bear arms, as pure political genius, crediting Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar for pushing both reforms. While acknowledging the bill would be controversial, Ramlogan argued it sends a strong message to criminals. He emphasized, however, that the law is not a license for vigilante justice and would still require proportionality when force is used. The man accused of killing former state prosecutor Randall Hector has confessed to carrying out the hit and has named two gang leaders who allegedly ordered the execution from behind prison walls. Hector was gunned down outside a Port of Spain church on December 31st, just after delivering a sermon. His alleged killer, now behind bars on a separate murder charge, is reportedly a member of the Resistance gang. Sources say he confessed that instructions came through his gang boss, who was relaying orders from another imprisoned gang leader controlling the G Squad. Though longtime rivals, the two gangs had reportedly formed an alliance inside prison. Despite the confession, charges are still pending, as the Director of Public Prosecutions has called for more independent evidence. The G Squad leader, a longtime suspect in multiple murders, is accused of orchestrating attacks from prison for over 2 decades, using illegal phones, corrupt intermediaries, and coded networks. Authorities believe Hector's murder was retaliation for his role in a past prosecution. In regional news, the government of Belize is strongly condemning all acts of sexual violence against children, following what it describes as heinous assaults on minors. In a joint statement, the Ministry of Human Development and the National Commission for Families and Children expressed outrage over recent reports involving both boys and girls, calling for stronger community vigilance, swift justice, and robust protection systems. This comes after former Belizean ambassador and ex-mayor Saeed Badi Guerra was charged with multiple offenses, including sexual assault, and granted bail. The charges stem from an alleged incident involving a 16-year-old boy. Authorities say such acts cause lifelong trauma and must never be excused, regardless of the perpetrator's status. They're calling for immediate investigations, appropriate sentencing, and support for survivors. Citizens are urged to report abuse, support victims, and remember that no one is above the law. The government reaffirmed its commitment to child protection, education, and prevention. In international news, Greece is battling 5 major wildfires amid a severe heat wave, with temperatures expected to soar to 44 degrees Celsius today. The hardest hit areas include the islands of Kythera and Evia, where strong winds and high heat continue to fuel flare-ups. Authorities have issued evacuation orders for multiple villages, and 6 firefighters have been hospitalized with burns and smoke inhalation. In Messenia and Attica, home to the capital Athens, homes, farmland, and forests have sustained serious damage. Greece has requested help from the European Union, deploying helicopters and water-bombing planes in the fight. Meanwhile, neighboring Turkey has recorded its highest temperature ever, 50.5 degrees, in the southeastern city of Silopi. Fires continue to burn across several regions, including Karabakh and Eskişehir, where 10 people were killed battling the flames last week. Officials in both countries are warning that the risk of new fires remains extremely high as the region grapples with worsening heat and drought. And that's news at this time.
That was news now. Stay informed with New Era TT Radio. Net Radio.
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box.
Charmflair Auto Services Limited, your one-stop auto repair shop, located at number 1 Industrial Lane, Charmflair, right opposite the brewery on the Eastern Main Road. Yes, we do it all. Repairs to all makes and models, from your everyday sedan to SUVs, light trucks, pickups, and panel vans. We're also the sole distributors of Davantry tires, certified VTS inspection station, plus a wide range of services: oil change, front end and suspension repairs, tune-ups, tire alignment, batteries, electrical work, radiator and cooling system, AC repairs, and accessories galore. We offer pickup and drop-off service too. Call us today at 662-6545 or 662-6572. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Charmflair Auto Services Limited, number 1 Industrial Lane, Charmflair. We do it all.
Okay, so we are back.
Yeah, and we have come to the end of today's program. Lots of good information coming in the chat from Cheryl Henry, DL, who else? Dean Allen, of course, Crash. Thank you for your comments and keep following. And a new name, Reddock, KRH. I don't know if that's Dr. Rhoda Reddock. I don't know. Maybe it is.
Identify yourself if it's you, Rhoda.
Yeah, could be her because I see a lot of chat coming from her. And of course, Ms. Cheryl Henry, thanks for continuing the debate on the issues that we would have just had Mr. Fields expound upon. All right, Mr. Fields, thank you very much for your hard work and keep it up. It's not an easy job, but someone's got to do it, and you've been doing it for quite a number of years. Okay, it is in fact Dr. Rhoda Reddock. Thank you very much for joining our show, ma'am. It's a pleasure to have you. All right. Of course, we've come to the end of our show, folks. And as Richard would say, have an absolutely fantastic day. And as I would say, you've got one life, live it. All right. Appreciate it very much.
All right. So this has been.
I may want to contact you so that we could do an interview with you also to get some of that knowledge that you have inside of you. I know that you have lots of information to share. Thank you very much for joining our show.
All right. So this is where we leave you until tomorrow. This has been The Breakfast Show.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Wake up, it's a brand new dawn. The Breakfast Show got the vibes turned on. From Maracas Bay to the Savannah line. Let's start the day in Caribbean prime. Show energy everywhere. We talk, we laugh, we make you think. Grab your doubles or your morning drink.
Tune in to the show.